All right, let's check the feed. All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson, News and Prophecy. Pray that this lesson is edifying. All right, News and Prophecy, realizing America is over. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into this thing here. I posted this on the feed yesterday. All right, but this article here is from Bloomberg.com. It says the headline here says FBI deploys police to guard facility where Epstein files are stored. Right now, why would they do that? Right, because there's all types of nasty work that's going on out here, man, and they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to backtrack. You know, it says FBI deploys police to guard facility where Epstein files are stored. It says officers were tasked with guarding the building and personnel after some social media comments call for protest or other methods to secure the files if names are scrubbed from the documents. Check that out, man. You see, and it's all coming out. Okay. This is Luke 7. I'm sorry, this is Luke 8:17. Luke chapter 8, verse 17 says, "For nothing is secret," right? "For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest." See that? And that's the time we live in right now in the end. For nothing is secret that should not be made manifest. So now the world is finding out, America's finding out that all your presidents and politicians, they're a bunch of freaks in PDF files, you know, abusers of children, trafficking. All right. And it's not just little girls. See, they keep pushing the narrative of, you know, them dealing with underage girls. No, it's boys too. Right. A lot of these you know, government officials are moles, man. Okay, weirdos, punks. All right, and they get off on kids. It's all coming out. The Lord is exposing these Edomites in these last days. Right? It's a bad look for America all over. Right? Luke 8:17, "For nothing is secret that should not be made manifest, neither is anything hid that should not be known and come abroad." All right, so the Lord is making this place completely bare, man. All right, so they're doing everything to hide, you know, the files and the people who are associated with Epstein and Trump. You know, all these politicians are all blackmailed, you know, to some degree. All right, they all got dirt on each other. You know, whether it's Democrat, Republican. Okay, all of these people are filthy and nasty, man. Right? But anyway, reading on here. Right, let's jump down a little bit, and I got a video too to play. So jumping down, it says the Epstein files, the government's data, and physical evidence related to the Epstein investigation have everyone all fired up, including Epstein's brother Mark on Tuesday, right before the House and Senate passed the bill to compel the Department of Justice to release the cache. Mark Epstein claimed in an interview with news station that the head of the FBI, Kash Patel, was leading a, quote, cover-up. See that? Was leading a, quote, cover-up of the Epstein files. He added that a, quote, pretty good source told him the files were being scrubbed of any Republican names in Winchester, the Virginia city where the FBI main records processing facility is located. Right? Obadiah 1:6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All right. It's a lot of nasty shit in these files, man. These devils are going hard to try to, cover this up. But this is what's breaking down, as I talked about. This is breaking down that MAGA movement. All right. A lot of these things, right? Let me pull this up. We'll go back to the read. Right. And we'll play this video as well. Right. But it says MAGA firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene will resign her House seat. And it says here, it says the resignation follows a public dispute with former President Donald Trump, who called her a traitor and a disgrace. The falling out reportedly stemmed from disagreements over the Jeffrey Epstein files, the government shutdown, and international politics, right? So this is why the MAGA movement is falling apart, man. People are on edge behind this shit, man. And this is good for these Edomites, man. Let's read a little bit more. We'll come back, right? It says, news station, it says, Mark Epstein claimed in the interview with news station the head of the FBI, Kash Patel, was leading a, quote, cover-up of the Epstein files. He added that a pretty good source told him the files are being scrubbed of any Republican names in Winchester, the Virginia city where the FBI main records processing facility is located. There is no evidence to back up any of Mark Epstein's allegations, but his remarks were shared in a Reddit post that day that led a handful of commenters to suggest if the files are being sanitized, then perhaps people should protest outside the Baru's Winchester building known as the Central Records Complex, where the Epstein files were processed earlier this year and are stored. Another commenter asked, at what point do we go from protesting to the next logical progression? Elsewhere on social media, some people suggested that they should go and get the Epstein files themselves. All right. Yeah, so I got a video to add in here, so you get the point. All right, let's play this video and we'll grab more scriptures here. All right, this came out 18 hours ago.
Some breaking news. Several sources tell MS Now the House Oversight Committee believes there's been a, quote, intense White House cover-up on the Jeffrey Epstein files. The sources acknowledge that Attorney General Pam Bondi's new investigation into Epstein's ties to Democratic politicians could be, quote, weaponized, and as Democrats have been suggesting, used to redact or withhold documents. Joining me now is James Marsh, an attorney who represents several Epstein survivors. I wonder what your reaction is to that new reporting.
Well, I think we sort of saw the writing on the wall when this bill was rushed through this week, that sort of conveniently came out that there's new investigations after so many years of there being no investigations. And this was obviously one thing that my clients are concerned about. They'll keep full transparency and accountability under wraps for, conceivably years.
You represent survivor Maria Farmer, who was one of the first women to ever report Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for sex trafficking. She's now suing the government for alleged negligence over when she reported the alleged abuse and other crimes. Take a listen.
They literally just hung up and I heard nothing for 10 years. It's been very an arduous journey, over 29 years of just trying to get people to hear me. Pretty much I dedicated all of my youth to this.
She dedicated her youth at a time when she just got pushed back, delayed. Now, we should note the FBI has declined to comment on the suit, but can you tell us more about it and where it stands now?
No, absolutely. I mean, what's interesting about Maria Farmer is she did actually complain not only to the NYPD, but to the FBI 30 years ago. We have a copy of her record from the FBI, and it's almost 90% redacted. So let's start with that, right? She makes this complaint, 1996. Jeffrey Epstein is already well known to federal law enforcement. He was one of the leading personas in the Tower Financial scandal, which until Bernie Madoff was the largest financial scandal in U.S. history. So he's a key witness in that and an unindicted co-conspirator. And then the State Department had also rented him, believe it or not, the Iranian consulate in New York City where he was living and engaged in a lease dispute with him during this same period of time. So he wasn't a random unknown person when Maria called. Quite the contrary. He was very well known to law enforcement. And what's very most curious about her case is they found her 10 years later. It's not like she heard something in the news, called them up again and said, hey, what happened to my complaint? They found her 10 years later and contacted her about what was happening with Jeffrey Epstein leading up to his eventual conviction. So there's a lot of unanswered questions in Maria's case, but we do have the records. We know that there's at least 29, 30 pages. Most of it is redacted. So let's focus on that first. I don't know that, they called up Bill Clinton or Donald Trump to say, who's this Maria Farmer person? Let's start with her record. And I think it'll uncover a lot about the origins of Jeffrey Epstein.
We have less than a minute, but 90% redacted. To your knowledge and to her knowledge, is that necessary to protect either ongoing case or, as the Republicans like to say, the privacy of the people involved?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's not 90% names of victims, right? It's not, she didn't report anyone. Her sister was also involved in what happened with her. So we know there's not 90% names of victims. We do want to know what else is in there and which government officials were responsible for enabling Jeffrey Epstein and helping cover up his activities. That's what the focus of this lawsuit is on. Not any of the politics you're hearing about today, but who in the government knew? What did they know? When did they know it? And why did not they pursue Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was a notorious criminal?
Yeah. So they're all tied to it, man. They're all tied to the guy. They're all a bunch of freaks, weirdos, PDF files, Satanists, grooming boys and girls from young ages, tying them up in this trafficking. All right, this place is over. What more can we say? Right? This is Jeremiah. Hey, when the scriptures say that this man will be revealed in his time, he's being revealed in his time. All right, Jeremiah 49:10, it says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled in his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So Esau is being made bare, man, through and through. And this is something that they've been doing since the inception of America, man. These Edomites, man. All right, let me make that point. Because these allegations and the corruption that we're hearing about, this ain't nothing new, man. This is the spirit of the devil. All right. This is Joel 3:3. It says, and they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot. Right. When they cast them lots going into those slave auctions, man. Okay, on how they were selling our people. It's the same thing today. It's slavery all over again, but just in a new name. All right, aka trafficking. Okay, and have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot. Right, so they would use the boys for pleasure. Okay, you already know what I'm talking about, man, and it still goes on to this day. The PDF, the PDF shit. Okay. The grooming of young children, and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. So this has been happening, man. Okay, but now in the end of Babylon the Great, America is all coming out that all your notable names and government officials and Hollywood actors and actresses, people that have some type of fame in the in the society, they're all tied to this freakism. All right, this nasty shit, man. This is why the Lord is getting ready to destroy this place. Again, this is that shameful spewing, right? Now going back here, okay. Back in this one here, this is from, bear with me. You know what, did I lose the article? Hold on one second. I think I might have. Here we go. So again, MAGA firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene will resign her House seat. We'll play a little bit of this. We played this the other day. We'll play it again. All right. Bear with me. Got a little lag on my computer again.
Have fought the most horrific fight that no woman should have to fight, and they did it by banding together and never giving up. And that's what we did by fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States, in order to make this vote happen today. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American.
Bear with me.
That serves foreign countries.
1 second, 1 second.
Patriot is an Americans like the women.
Survivors spoke up. Because of their courage, the truth is finally going to come out. And when it comes out, this country is really going to have a moral reckoning.
Exactly. That's the spirit. You see, when the truth comes out, this country is going to have a moral reckoning. That's what's happening. The judgment look, this place is about to get jacked the hell up. All right. As we read earlier. All right. Again, Luke 8:17, for nothing is secret that should not be made manifest, neither anything hid that should not be known and come abroad. All right. It's over, man. Okay. These are the people that are leading you, that are ruling over you, man. Okay. A lot of these people that partook, in this MAGA movement, now they're in great shame. They see that they've been bamboozled, they've been tricked. It was never about America, it was all about Israel. It was, a bunch of Satanists, man. All this stuff that's been coming out through the years.
How did we allow this to happen? There should be no buildings named after people in this Epstein class. There should be no scholarships named after them. They shouldn't be enjoying the perks of being affiliated with corporations or universities or writing op-eds or being lionized. And many of the survivors will tell you some of these people still are celebrated in our society. That's disgusting. There needs to be accountability.
I believe he's trying to protect friends and donors. And by the way, these aren't necessarily Republicans. Once you get to $1 billion, you transcend parties. You just assume you can pay off whatever party is in charge of the White House, whatever party is in charge of the House of Representatives. And this is about those kinds of people. I think he's been trying to protect them. And I think it also incriminates our
Shalakia. All right. Right there.
For
So
months.
again, it is over, man. All right. Because that's the point. So, hey, again, like the elder Yashawamba said, just one big ass mess, man. All right. Corruption everywhere. All right. It's over. Let's move on. I saw this earlier today. This is from the Wall Street Journal. It says the middle class is buckling under almost 5 years of persistent inflation. This is the squeeze. All right. There is no more middle class, man. You know, like the elders say, you got the poor, the upper poor, and then you have the rich, the elite. Okay. The middle class is buckling under almost 5 years of persistent inflation. It says workers growing tired of economy in which everything seems to get more expensive, right? So we'll read some points if they let me. Okay, they want me to subscribe. All right, hold on. I'm going to read a little bit of this article. I got to pull it up on another tab. Too bad I couldn't pull the article up here, but I'll just read through it briefly, and then we'll grab scripts. So anyway, the middle class is buckling under almost 5 years of persistent inflation. Workers growing tired of economy in which everything seems to get more expensive, right? So I'm reading this from another tab, so just bear with me here. So it says America's middle class is very weary. After nearly 5 years of high prices, middle class earners throughout life would be more affordable by now. Costs for goods and services are 25% above where they were in 2020. Even though the inflation rate is below its recent 2022 high, certain essentials like coffee, ground beef, and car repairs are up markedly this year, right? It says life felt more doable a year and a half ago, said Holly Frew, a college communications director with a household income of $135,000 living in Atlanta. Quote, I need to know where the light is at the end of the tunnel. All right. Because again, people are losing hope. All right. People are giving up, as you've been seeing, crashing out, crying on the internet, complaining on camera on how they're going to, live here and, adapt to the new way of living. All right. It says the American middle class encompasses a broad cross-section of workers that includes white-collar office employees, nurses, and plumbers, although there is no universally accepted definition. All right, last point, and I'll grab scriptures here, right? It says, Pew Research Center defines the middle class broadly as having a household income between $66,666 and $200,000, depending on where they live. Perpetual sticker shock is making many within the group feel worse about their own finances and the future of the country. They are hunting for bargains and spending more carefully. It says, last point, it says the frugality of the middle class customer figures as a reoccurring thing in recent corporate earnings reports. Fast food restaurant Wingstop said this month that middle income diners have now joined lower income ones in dialing back purchases. Target reported slumping sales as customers are spending cautiously in discretionary items such as home decor and apparel. Walmart, meanwhile, posted strong sales as consumers from all income groups flock to the retail's value. All right, and we'll leave it there. All right, but you get the point, man. People are broke as hell. All right, and they're drowning in this this current economy, right? Real fast. This is Isaiah 47 and 7, right? So this is the book of Isaiah. Let me put it in the screen. Isaiah 47 and 7, which reads, it says, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever. So that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. So a lot of these people, these Babylonians, these so-called Americans, they didn't consider what they're going through right now. They didn't consider the latter end of this place, basically being judged as it's being judged right now. People would have never had no idea that they would be in this situation. All right. But overall, this is the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. This is NLT. It says, you said I will reign forever as a queen of the world. Right. And that's been the spirit, that's been pushed from America, that America would never fall, that America, that this place would never see adversity. This is a so-called strong nation, It says, you said I will reign forever as a queen of the world. You did not reflect on your actions or think about their consequences. And now all of that shit is coming back to bite this place, man. All right. Starting with the leadership, okay, which is corrupt, wicked, all right, down to the people, because the people who run the system don't care about the people. So now the people are facing the brunt of the consequences, man. Now people are struggling. That now they're barely hanging on. They want these people to drown, which is going to further bring this place to total destruction. Right? Revelation, what's that one? Revelation 6. Get that real quick too. Revelation 6 and Revelation 6 and verse 6 here. And it reads, Revelation 6 and 6, it says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat. So like I ain't have it in the screen. Here we go. Revelation 6 and 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and wine. So now this is essentially what Babylon America is going through right now, man. All right, because a day's wages, don't provide anymore, man. The penny represents a day's wages for work. All right, but since they devalued the currency, and now everybody is being squeezed through this hyperinflation, what people make for their daily living, it doesn't suffice anymore. Okay, this is why people are struggling, and it's the same thing that happened back during the ancient Roman Empire when they devalued the denarion. Okay, so now it's the same thing now with this American dollar that's been devalued. All right, people can't afford, the price of living. Right, this is why this ties into this article here. All right, people are choking under this 5-year persistent inflation. All right, that's only getting worse. Right, let's add some more to that point. All right. This is from Bloomberg as well. It says car loan delinquencies hit record for riskiest borrowers. It says Americans are struggling to afford their monthly auto payments. The latest sign of pain for lower income borrowers. See that? So people are getting their cars snatched up left and right because they can't make the payments. All right, repossession is at an all-time high throughout America, man. Okay, it says many borrowers are also dealing with high interest rates on their loans. All right, so here it is. You got an older vehicle, right? But your car payments are damn near, $600, $700 a month, $800 a month. See what I'm saying? This is real life for a lot of people. It says more Americans than ever are falling behind their car payments. The share of subprime borrowers at least 60 days past due on their auto loans rose to 6.65% in October, the highest in data going back to 1994, according to Fitch Ratings. With ongoing inflation pressures, right? With ongoing inflation pressures and the return of student loan bills, millions of car owners are struggling to afford their monthly payments. It's the latest sign of the weakness in the U.S. economy as the Federal Reserve considers the path of future rate cuts. All right, let's jump down here. It says, and here's the graph they put up here. Americans behind on car payments hit record. Subprime borrowers late on auto loans reaches highest since 1994. All right. And the rest reads on. All right. It says, last point here, everyday people are likely to face even more budget crunches as economic growth cools and the job market weakens. In last week's elections, affordability and cost of living issues were top of mind for voters, right? That's that instability, man. That's the worrying that's consuming people right now. Affordability and cost of living issues were top of mind for voters, with consumer surveys finding that Americans are downbeat about the economy. Whoo, see that? The scriptures don't lie, man. Right? Isaiah 19. That's why he said it's over, man. Right? Isaiah 19 and 3. And it reads, it says, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof." Right? That's what's happening. Okay? The spirit of Egypt is failing. The confidence, the trust in the system, all right, is failing. People are losing hope. The American dream is dead, man. Okay, more Americans are asking if college is really worth it. Now they're saying, I think one of the brothers had posted. Now there's certain jobs in the job market now that don't require a college degree, right? Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, I got it right here. It says a list of degrees Department of Education will reclassify and no longer consider professional degrees. It says education, including teaching master degrees, nursing, MSN, DNP, social work, MSW, DSW, public health, NPH, doctor, PH, physical assistant, occupational therapy, physical therapy, ideologically. It says speech language pathology, business masters, engineering masters, counseling and therapy degrees. So it says those who voted for this administration, how does it feel being told your degree is not a professional one? So again, it's over. All right. The American dream is done. College is done. All right. These young Generation Z see that, college is not even fucking worth it. So what does this tell you? This is a sign that this economy is done for, man. All right. Where's that in Ecclesiastes 12? Right. Ecclesiastes 12 and 3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. All right. The lack of work, the job market is done. AI is replacing jobs. It says the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Right. And that's pretty much, as I'm saying, that's been the spirit thus far here in Babylon, man. Nothing in America is worth it anymore. All right. Jobs are finished. The idea of going to college, people can't keep up with payments, right? Inflation. All right. The current administration that's in power are a bunch of freaks and weirdos, and all of this shit that's coming out, the dirty laundry, the corruption. There's no way in hell that you can say that this place is going to continue to thrive, man. Okay, as the scriptures say, there is no healing of Babylon. That's the point, right? Let's get a little bit more here, right? So this is from some more news out of Charlotte, North Carolina. All right. It says construction sites empty across Charlotte due to the fear of ICE raids. All right. And as I posted, there was protesting going on, all these different high schools and middle schools. Kids were walking out. This is all over Charlotte. All right. They were walking out of school to protest against the against the immigration raids. All right, so people are pissed, right? Let's read a little bit of that. Okay. So this is right here in downtown Charlotte, as you see in the photo. It says Border Patrol and ICE raids have caused fear amongst Latino construction workers in Charlotte, North Carolina. All right. It says all tying into Jacob's trouble, man. All right. They're going after the Northern Kingdom. They're going after the Southern Kingdom, you know, Judah as well. But the concentration has been a lot of the Northern Kingdom, right? So it says fear amongst the Latino construction workers in Charlotte, North Carolina. Construction sites in Charlotte are near ghost towns with not a worker in sight. All right. And this is crazy too, because the people who's building and doing the construction and architect is, you know, a lot of it's Northern Kingdom. All right. So them getting rid of, you know, them deporting these Northern Kingdom people, you know, is just going to further hurt, you know, America, man, you know, because who's going to build this shit? You know, Border Patrol invaded Charlotte, North Carolina, November 15th, 2025. Churches have been raided. Construction sites have been raided. People walking on the street have been arrested and sent to ICE detention centers. ICE was believed to have left the Charlotte operation, but then the government said yesterday that they will be in Charlotte for a while. Video shows a construction site at Panda Express being raided by Border Control, right? And the rest goes on. All right. But so it's getting real, man. Right. But all of this is going to lead to civil unrest, martial law, and more uproars of the people. Right. Second Esdras 15. Right. Second Esdras 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So this is what we've been waiting on, man. Eventually, there's going to be a standoff, a clash between these ICE agents and the people, right? Because this is not going to continue to go on as planned, you know, without some type of resistance, is my point, right? Anyway, my last couple of points here, right, before we wrap this up, you know, just this is in the news, just realizing that America is done. It's over. It's finished, right? You know, we have brought this out before too, the world ahead 2026, right? Of what the elites are actually preparing for, right? So as you saw in the photo here, you know, they're preparing for you know, war and pestilence and plagues and destruction to come in for 2026, man. All right. So it's time, to my point, that you know, again, realizing that that America, you know, is done. All right. And I want to get into this, and we'll finish off with that. All right. Just more information coming out about the chariots, the so-called UFOs. You know, and Esau is pretty much in great fear, you know.
Welcome back to Special Report. Tonight we continue our series looking at unidentified, anomalous, say that easy, phenomena, what many people still call UFOs, UAPs. Last week we spoke with the director of the Age of Disclosure. It's a new documentary out about a suspected government cover-up over UAPs for decades, which debuts tonight in select theaters around the country, is also available on Prime Video. It's powerful. It features testimony from 34 former and current government officials, including witnesses who have testified before Congress. Earlier, we spoke with another whistleblower who is now a congressional task force member on the UAP subject.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all bullshit. All right. Like I said, chew the meat, spit the bones out. All right.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human. Well, let's get some insight into the UAP, or UFO, it used to be called, controversy, and what Congress is trying to do about it. Joining us now, retired Air Force Major David Grush, who has been a whistleblower on the subject of UFOs, UAPs, and government transparency. He's a special advisor now to the House UAP Task Force. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me on, Brett.
So since then, people say, where is the evidence? What's happening? Why don't we know more right now, almost 2 years later?
Well, certainly the last administration didn't help, and my hearing, of course, was during the last administration, and they were not exactly super transparent on.
Let's catch up real quick. Bear with me.
This issue, unfortunately, but now that the task force has been created, I've been able to, guide the members within the boundaries of what they're actually cleared for.
When people look at this, they look online, they say, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of people talking about encounters. There's a lot of people talking about videos, and we've seen a lot of that. Can we just cut it down to, you believe that we have encountered alien beings and that they've come to Earth and that we know about it as a U.S. government?
That seems to be the case. I don't like to characterize necessarily where they came from. They're definitely some kind of non-human sentience, but it is true, believe it or not, we've recovered the vehicles, and we actually have physical proof. And I was actually partially cleared into some of those activities.
Yeah, so like I said, they're not recovering no chariots, no parts, no crashed vehicles and all of that. So they got to throw this in there to, like I said, to throw you off. But they have acknowledged that these threats that come from what they call UFOs are real, and these threats are threats to this man's system, this empire, which they're prepared to go against, right?
Activities. It was beyond oral testimony provided to me. I actually had partial access to the data and actually read the intelligence reports resulting from those programs.
Like,
and
with your own eyes,
Correct.
You saw it.
Yes.
And so when people say this is kooky, this is out there, there's nothing to back it up.
I don't speak for other parts of the government, but I can tell you NASA, which I speak for, is open and transparent with our data.
Do you believe what Mr. David Grush said, or is he lying?
Whatever he said, where's the evidence?
What do you say?
Certainly members of this current administration are very, very well aware of this reality. Certainly the current president is very knowledgeable on this subject, and I trust his leadership on it. And I think he's assembled an A-team cabinet, and I really believe if Trump wants to be the greatest president and the most consequential leader likely in world history, he certainly has the knowledge, the capabilities, and understanding of some of these sensitive government transparency issues.
I have access, and I speak to people about it. I've had actually meetings on it. People that are very smart and very solid have said they believe there is something out there. And, it makes sense that there could be. I've never been convinced, even despite that. I just, for some reason, it's not my thing.
So you think, one, he knows, and two, he's open to transparency on UAPs?
Yeah, you can watch the rest of that. All right, you get it. But anyway, let's wrap this up. Okay, so they know what's going on. They know what's about to happen, and they know that these are the chariots of the Lord. All right, Yahweh Shemel Shai. 36:1, it says, "Have mercy upon us, O Lord, power of all, and behold us, and send thy fear upon all the nations that seek not after thee." Right? Lift up thy hand against the strange nations and let them see thy power. And this is what Esau's militaries are seeing now, things that they can't explain. "And thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us. And let them know thee as we have known thee, that there is no power but only thou, O power, Yahweh Shemel Shai. Show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works," right? So these are the things that are being discussed behind the scenes, privately. Okay? The capability of the angels, the chariots, the way they maneuver, how they defy the laws of gravity, all those things, man. Esau know that he can do nothing against that, right? those wondrous works, those signs, the things that the Lord is allowing these devils to see. You know, raise up indignation and pour out wrath, take away the adversary and destroy the enemy. Right? And that's what Yahweh Shemel Shah is coming to do. Take the time short, or make the time short. Remember the covenant, and let them declare thy wondrous works. Let him that escapeth be consumed by the rage of the fire, and let them perish that oppress the people. See? Smite asunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen that say that there is none other but we, right? And the Lord is coming to conquer, man, as I said before. Right? In the lesson that I did going into the what was it called? The age of disclosure, right? Dealing with the so-called UAPs, UFOs, which are the chariots of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. All right. So again, this is the point, realizing that America is over. All right. Destruction is very close, man. All right. So so brace for the impact, man. All the signs are there. They're letting you know. Again, they're